Well, it came in a Newegg box, and now it's going out in a Newegg box. This Newegg box contains the remains of the first ever laptop that I ever owned, the old Acer TravelMate 3260, which I've referred to as Silver Platter because, well, it was silver. Sadly, though, I left it in a room during one of our cold New England winters. It didn't have any heat running in it, and something on the motherboard let go. And now this whole thing is just done. What a shame. The whole thing just died like that. But then again, I've seen Acer stuff do that before. So, something I should probably mention for you folks is that some of these videos are going to start getting a little out of order date-wise, because with all this computer stuff going on, I keep running into situations where I record part 1, then I have to order parts, and then come back for a part 2 several days later. So if you see some skipping around in the dates on these videos, that's what happened. But here is what's left of the Acer piece of junk, or I should say my last Acer piece of junk. And I'm hoping that without leaving the device in a room that gets a little too cold in the winter time, this Acer piece of junk will last longer. So, anyways, here is the video footage of me trying to fix this darn thing. And of course, I thought it was the power board. That died, because that's a common problem with these things. But unfortunately, it was the motherboard, and this thing is toast. Anywho. Now what we've got here is the first laptop that I've ever owned. It's an Acer piece of junk TravelMate 3260, circa 2007. I originally got this as a tax refund thing because these cheap laptops cost $700 back in the day. Nowadays we have $300 laptops, of course, and all that fun stuff. But once upon a time, just having 3-digit laptop prices meant that a laptop was cheap. Now, I basically planned to pay for this with a tax refund, basically, and this allowed me to get a wireless laptop that let me watch YouTube and other IPTV type stuff over the wireless. It runs Intel Centrino. It actually runs a Core Solo processor, and I think my RAM in this was like 2 gigs or something. I upped it to 2 gigs of RAM because it runs Windows XP, but I upped it to 2 gigs of RAM to make it so that it would work with Vista if I ever wanted to make it work with Vista. Unfortunately, it doesn't turn on. The battery's useless, and when you try plugging it in, here's the power brick. When you actually try plugging this in, you get a power fault. There we go, all plugged in now, and we are getting a power fault from the power brick. Now if I unplug it, it goes back to normal. So it's not like the power brick is shot, and I've already tested it with a multimeter, and it's putting out the 19 volts that it's supposed to output. The problem with this specific type of cheap Acer piece of junk laptop is that the power boards in these things go out. And so when the power board goes, the whole thing is basically dead. So I want to take a look at it and see if I can identify what happened to the power board and if I want to replace it or not. Because last I checked, power boards for these things are like $30. It'd be good not to spend a couple $100s on a laptop when I can just either fix the existing power board or put in a new power board for $30 instead. Plus, it'd be fun to get this thing working again. I am not a fan of e-waste in any way, shape, or form, and so if I can keep this thing from having to be tossed out, then so be it. Otherwise, I'll just pull the hard drive, the RAM, etc., but let's just hope it doesn't come to that. Now, prior to this laptop biting the dust, I had just gotten the crap top, and this thing was relegated to a video capturing role with a FireWire PCM-CIA card, since this thing actually still has PC card slots underneath, though you can't really see it. This thing was relegated to a video capture only role, and so this sat downstairs in a room that didn't have any heat during the winter time. So I think something might have let go during one of our January cold snaps. So let's see what we've got going on here. I don't really tear these things apart very much because I hate working with laptops because they're usually very proprietary. So what I'm going to use for a teardown guide is a blog entry from InsideMyLaptop.com. Looks like a WordPress blog in disguise. But there's an article, apparently this is such a known issue that there's a how-to article on how to get at the power board in these things to replace them. And if we scroll through the article, we've basically got a complete teardown guide. Now, I've already torn this laptop apart once. A couple of years ago, the CPU fan, the bearings started to go, or they didn't start to go per se, but they basically got all noisy, so this thing would make noise when you first turned it on, so I went in with some WD-40 and it was nice and quiet afterwards. Until the power board died, and the power board's on the other side of the machine. So let's start tearing this thing down and see if we can see what happened to the power board. Look at all those screws that are circled in red that I have to disconnect just to get the back plate of this thing off. This is why I can't stand working with laptops most of the time. Usually they're proprietary pieces of junk compared to their desktop counterparts. Thus, at the end of the day, that plastic shell is just cosmetic fluff. This is what your laptop really is. Oh yeah, the old Sunon squirrel cage fan. I haven't seen this thing in a long time. And here is our problem right here. This is the power board. It's your basic printed circuit board, and at the end it's got little pins, little pinhole connector thing right there that connects to this and powers the laptop. So, let's see where I can get one of these, or if I can find out what's wrong with this thing. $8.64 on Amazon for a replacement power board. Definitely worth trying out, and if it doesn't work, well, I was going to junk the laptop anyways. And all the parts can sit in this old Newegg box until the replacement power board comes in. Okay, day 2, and the replacement board is here. Let's see if it works. Nope. Blink, 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 and the thing doesn't turn on. This machine is toast. This is why I'm not a big fan of laptops. They're so proprietary. I mean, if the main board goes, there's not much you can do with it, except maybe get a few parts out of it. So we got the optical drive, we got 2 gigs of RAM, and the 250 gig Seagate Momentus hard drive. Now, probably the most interesting part is I'd forgotten that this laptop was actually the first machine I ever had with a DVD burner. My, how time flies. Anyways, let me see if I can recycle the RAM somehow. I wonder if the crap top takes that kind of RAM. Till next time, this is Multimedia J, signing off. Thanks for stopping by.